What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of Buddy Mode. Today's episode is going to be kind of more of a news roundup of Switch 2 news of the last week. Yeah, I'm going to hand it over to Jason for some of the headlines.
All right. Yeah, I've got them written down here. So we're almost a week out exactly from the Switch 2 launch.
Yep.
Which is exciting. Which is going to be June the 5th here.
Yeah, I think when this episode...
And people already...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
When this episode comes out, it'll be exactly a week because we're putting it out on Friday,
Yeah.
so...
Yeah. And so stores are getting their Switch 2 stock already. There's, say, videos online or pictures online of, like, the Target stock and of cages full of Switch 2s. And apparently, even to the point where people have their hands on Switch 2s.
Yeah.
And people have been able to take pictures and share what it looks like, which is basically just exactly what you think it would look like, which is a cardboard box with a bigger Switch inside of it. It looks a lot like, we can't share it here, but it looks, for fear of Nintendo ninjas, but it looks a lot like the Switch 1 box. But it's super exciting. Way more hype.
Way more hype.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I feel like, because I worked at GameStop for a while, and I feel like we didn't even get our like stock of consoles and stuff this early, so it feels kind of strange.
Yeah, it's so weird to see so many out in the wild. I wonder if Nintendo had the confidence to have them, at the stores ready to go, because of the second headline, which is that they have basically all the Switch 2s that are in the wild right now, and the ones that people have gotten their grubby hands on are all basically bricked right now, because you can't essentially play any games or boot any games. And reportedly people are getting a prompt saying that they need to update, so they have to wait till the June 5th update.
Yep.
Which was super clever on Nintendo's part.
Yeah, I mean, with that limitation, I mean, they could have sent them out months ago, It's like, but yeah, that's really clever, and this is the first time I've ever seen anything like that, really.
Yeah, and even weeks ago, Doug Bowser was commenting in an interview that there were Switch 2s in the United States. So
That's true.
they thought ahead this time, and they made sure that even in the inevitable instance that somebody gets their hands on a Switch 2 early, they can't just leak all of the information or do things not on Nintendo's time.
Yeah.
And so the next thing that we wanted to talk about, the next headline, was the N64 NSO updates. So Nintendo Switch Online, for the N64 games, which you get with the expansion pass, it's getting a few updates. Most of them are specifically for the Switch 2, but the one that is Switch 1 is the button remapping is finally coming.
Thank
so
goodness,
if you
man.
want to play Star Fox, if you want to play Star Fox and put the shooting button on a trigger, you can now.
Yeah, or GoldenEye too. That was a nightmare to play on launch. Like, I know you could go to like the system settings and remap the buttons, but that was just a little cumbersome. So having it in the application itself is going to be really nice.
Absolutely. And then the two other updates for the Switch 2, and their Switch 2 exclusive updates, are the CRT filter. For some reason, that's a Switch 2 update.
Yeah.
Or a Switch 2 exclusive update. Just putting like you said earlier, an uglier filter on it.
Yeah, I mean...
You're just making it...
It does look...
Not uglier.
It does look like one of the more convincing CRT filters I've seen. It's really good, but did it really need that much horsepower to make it look blurrier? I don't know.
I don't know. But speaking of horsepower, not button remapping, the rewind feature. Now that's something that maybe I could understand. Out of the 3 updates for the N64 Online, the rewind feature, maybe that makes sense for the Switch too.
Yeah, because it's like they're 3D games, and granted they're 20-year-old 3D games, but I mean, older than that. But I mean, still, there's probably some technical limitation that the Switch 1 had, like where it couldn't remember all that information enough to justify the rewind feature. So yeah, I could see why it would be a Switch 2 exclusive. It kind of sucks for Switch 1 owners to have such seemingly minuscule and like no-brainer updates locked to a $500 console, like when they're already paying an extra like $50 for the expansion pack to even own it. So I wonder how Switch 1 owners who aren't gonna upgrade day one to the Switch 2 feel about this. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Because the CRT filter could have totally been on the Switch 1. I don't see any reason why that's not a Switch 1 thing besides to incentivize getting a Switch 2 and make it a little bit sweeter. But the rewind feature, it kind of makes sense a little bit more. Mm-hmm. I don't know all about like how hard it is to emulate these things, but as we've seen with the different modded Switches and the different things that people have been able to do to the Switch 1 over the past 7 whatever years, they show that a lot of the older emulators, so like Super Nintendo or the NES, you can inject ROMs, or even the Game Boy, you can inject ROMs into there. So I don't know, does Nintendo have the source code for Donkey Kong 64? Who knows if that's still on hand. Otherwise, it makes sense that if they're doing some sort of just straight emulation instead of a port, to need a little bit more overhead in order to do those, rewind features and have those kind of complex N64 emulation games actually run.
Yeah, and I can see myself using that so many times, especially like, say, playing through Majora's Mask or something, like where time is of the essence in that game. Like being able to just rewind so you don't have to keep making the same mistake over and over again that's gonna be awesome for that game, I think.
Absolutely. So, launching, like launch day. Launch day is in about a week.
It's imminent.
If not a week, it's imminent. How do you think launch will be? Now, let me put some thoughts in your head before you start. Do you think there will be issues like how we had like Joy-Con drift, or we have like sometimes you see consoles bricking, out of the box with such like high capacity that they're making, like, so how many consoles they're making, or like our batteries going to be exploding? Are we going to have a Samsung phone situation where people open their Switches?
TSA is not going to allow Switch 2s on planes.
Yeah. Like, what do you foresee? Do you foresee any issues? Do you think Nintendo had it, ironed out by now?
I think some of the issues we might run into potentially are people trying to mix Switch 1 hardware with Switch 2 somehow. Like, I heard that the docks aren't going to be like fully compatible because the output is completely different. Maybe the power supply is completely different. Maybe people, I don't know, trying to put a round peg in a square hole, or however that term goes. Like, maybe that could cause some issues. And I mean, hopefully not, but I don't know. I feel like with Joy-Con drift, like Nintendo never outright like admitted to it. I mean, they were like, yeah, we'll like fix your Joy-Con if it has issues, but like they never like fully outright stated it. But the fact that there was like, like a lawsuit and stuff, hopefully they like took that really seriously this time and like just made those things like, I don't know, like bulletproof.
I sure hope so, because that's kind of one of the fears of being an early adopter of any sort of technology like that. But specifically like game consoles, there tends to be there have been a lot of issues in the past, whether it's Joy-Con drift or red rings of death or yellow lights of death, or just different or hard drive issues, with the PS3. There just tends to be issues with those first few batches. So hopefully Nintendo doing an iterative approach with the Switch 2 is just so safe and they have 0 issues.
I know.
And it's just, it solves all the problems.
Yeah, I mean, my day one Switch 1, I mean, the actual console itself has been amazing to me. Like, I haven't really had any issues with it at all. The Joy-Con, another story. I've had to get my original Joy-Con replaced at least once, or fixed at least once. But the hardware itself, man, like that, I don't know. They're wizards over there.
Oh, absolutely. So, next topic, and last topic for this one. Nintendo Direct in June. Likelihood? There's maybe some talking going around. What's the likelihood of us having a Nintendo Direct in June? What do you think? Just general.
Is the sky blue? I mean, it's gonna happen. I mean, E3 was always in June. Now Summer Game Fest is in June. June is when just developers in general like to hype up stuff for the holidays, and what's to come for the summer, like late summer and stuff. So, I mean, it's a no-brainer. We've had something for Nintendo in June for the last decade at least.
Yeah, for sure. I would be pretty disappointed if the titles this year, first-party titles, and sorry, forgive me if I forget a few, are the Mario Kart, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Metroid at some point, Kirby Air Riders at some point, the wheelchair basketball game I think is coming this year. Yeah. Oh, and Pokemon ZA.
Yeah.
Right, of course. I mean, that's really... But then you say it out loud.
You forgot one.
What?
Welcome Tour.
Oh my gosh.
I can't believe you forgot Welcome Tour.
Sorry. The launch. That's the Christmas title. That is the one that they're pushing.
Yeah.
That's how they're gonna recoup the cost for the Switch.
Yep.
The Switch 2. Yeah, I think it's... I don't know, but I say it out loud, and then how ungrateful am I to not be happy about a Metroid, a Pokemon, a Kirby, Mario Kart, and a Donkey Kong all in a 6-month span.
I know, that's like 2% of the Smash roster. Like, come on.
Yeah. But yeah, they're heavy hitters. I think what we're feeling, like we said previously, or in another talk, that we don't have that action, adventure, story-driven, Zelda-like, Mario-like. I think that's what people are kind of holding out for. So if they announce anything in June, which I feel like is pretty confirmed, even a Direct with Switch 1 games mixed in there too. I think the Switch 1's being supported, but that's another topic.
Oh yeah.
I think the Switch 2 is just another member of the Nintendo Switch family, and we're gonna see ads that say Switch 2, Switch OLED, and then maybe they'll leave out OG Switch, and they'll just say Switch Lite, because they really do fit different,
Oh,
so
absolutely.
I could see them supporting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see them supporting it.
It's funny to think about all the first party titles coming out, because they all do feel a little bit smaller in scope. Like, I mean, Mario Kart's a racing game, Kirby Air Riders is a racing game, like Pokemon Legends ZA, we don't fully know the scope of that game just yet, but I mean, it all takes place in Lumio City, which is a little bit... It's weird for a full title to take place in a single city, so it feels a little bit more bite-sized. So, yeah, like, what's like the meat? Where is it? I mean, Metroid, I guess, but that's such a... I don't want to say niche, because Metroid is huge in its own right, but it's still a bit niche when it comes to Nintendo fans. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's in like the 2 to 3 million sales for Metroid Dread or Metroid Prime. I might be mixing them, but it's definitely not, the top 5 selling Nintendo games.
Exactly.
The top few are the heavy hitters, so Mario Kart. Of course, we're getting Mario Kart. Awesome, solid. We should be content with that. But it'd be nice to see another Animal Crossing. It'd be nice to see another Zelda or another 3D Mario. Yeah, and ZA is one of those spin-off Pokemon games too. But Pokemon Company is like always doing their own thing, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it just feels like there's something else. I would bet money that
yeah.
there's something else.
For sure. Me too.
All right. Well, I think that's most of the news for this time. I'm sure there will be more news in the next 7 days.
Oh, yeah.
So, thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Thank you for spending time with us.
Yeah. We'll have our hands on the Switch 2 in a week. So, yeah, look out for tons of videos on that, coverage, and unboxing, our initial thoughts on the whole thing. Yeah, and thanks for everyone who watched episode 1. It really means a lot that you guys watched, and I hope you enjoyed everything. So, yeah, we love doing these discussions, and there's definitely going to be more to come.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Bye.